Hey, it's been a minute, I know. But I have another guest for you, a repeat guest actually. I'm really excited because it's been about a year since I interviewed her last. Her name is Sarah, and Sarah comes to us from New York, and she has her hands in pretty much everything. She's publishing books, she's organizing people's lives, she's doing so much, and I just love her energy because she's one of those no-nonsense, straight-up people that just, tells you like this, and we need more of those in our lives. Hey, Sarah.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good, Pika. How are you?
I'm good. I really like that color of your background, actually. It really looks
That's
nice.
that's my actual color. That's my one
Right.
wall in my office. The rest of them are
I
yellow.
love it. I love
Thank
that
you.
color, though.
Thank you.
So the last time I spoke to you was about a year ago, and we got to hear a bit about, where you came from, where you started, all these things. But I was just mentioning to everyone that you have your hands in a little bit of everything. You're working on fitness and nutrition. You are working on helping people organize their lives, and I like the fact that you've got professional problem solver on your profile. I really like that title because that's exactly what you do. You troubleshoot and you help people, cut the bullshit and get to the point.
Right, exactly. Cut the nonsense and let's deal with the issue.
Pretty much.
And stop
So,
making excuses, right?
right, exactly. I have a lot of excuses, but I'm working on those too. So from last year, the last time we spoke, till now, what do you think are like the major things that you had to kind of like adjust and include into your business, you think?
So the biggest change was a year ago, my intention was to fully be online based.
Yes.
And because I was in a bad car accident in January, that process
Right, I
was a
remember.
slow process because I still had to do a lot of healing. Like I was doing physical
Yes.
therapy until the end of May. So,
Right.
so when that's, a priority, everything else kind of gets thrown off. And then,
Of course.
my arm, so my right arm was injured, my right shoulder and elbow, and I'm a righty. So sometimes I couldn't type, sometimes I couldn't write, like it was painful. So then that would slow me down. And even now still, like sometimes I know like when I do my lives, people will see me do like this because I still have 3 vertebrae out of place in my neck. And so sometimes it pinches. So I'm like, I know.
Wow, like a year later, wow.
Because I'll be like, to get it all back in place so I can concentrate on what people are typing.
Right, okay.
So those are the biggest, that was like the biggest transition was the physicality of it because, we do have a corporation that functions as 2 other businesses in addition to being a business itself. And I am the primary caretaker of that, right?
Okay.
So if I'm not okay and I can't keep all the balls in the air juggling and I gotta put them down, they're down for a minute.
Right.
So that was a huge adjustment. Figuring out how to take my very personal touch, my very personalized help that I give businesses and package it or compartmentalize it or make it pliable to being just online was really difficult for me because I was a little, I was resistive to giving up the personal touch because I feel like that's what makes me different is the fact that I'm so like, you do this. Well, my friend, no, you do this because your personality says this. Your lifestyle says this, your finances say this, and this is what will actually work for you. Stop telling me what everybody else does.
Right.
As you know, like I'm very like, this is this, and that's it. So I didn't want to lose that. You know what I mean? I felt like if I tried to like create this program, like things that you and I have both seen, right? Like these cookie cutter things and everybody, is supposed to come through. And
one solution fits all.
Right. All be magically them by the end, but everybody goes through the same process.
And that's not,
that was not going to work for me. What I'm happy to say is kind of becoming more comfortable with social media because I have a real love-hate relationship with it. Like there's times I just want
to... But you're on live a lot more now. I noticed that.
Yeah. I don't mind the lives. As you know, I have a group on Facebook. I was going live for years. So it's not the lives that bother me. What bothers me is all the junk in between that I have to look at.
Okay.
I'm not shy. I don't care. I'll get up and talk in front of anybody about anything, live, TV, whatever. I don't care about any of that.
You're very comfortable. I love that about you.
Yeah, but the problem was it bothers me to see social media so saturated with people offering services that I can tell by the things they say, I know they haven't made money doing that. And I feel like that's the biggest no-no. If you didn't earn money doing what you're suggesting somebody else does, you have no business selling that service. That's how I feel. And so it's that stuff and all the politics that make me feel like I want off. But I have found finally my comfort zone where I don't ever feel like I want to unplug all the way. I actually look forward to like stepping in and seeing what's going on business wise, seeing what the other businesses I follow are doing and are up to. And because I've made my Sunday night lives about serving businesses, I try to really pay attention to the things I see them struggling with. And I allow them to ask questions, and I just answer whatever questions they have live. So if they have to catch the replay because they're on like a very different time difference, like you and I, or whatever, they're able to do that. Yeah. And I feel good about that. So then I like to see them because I like to watch and see how their posts are changing, how their interaction is changing. I like to then, so now I found like my happy place with it, if that makes any sense.
Yes, absolutely. You kind of fell into the rhythm and you're managing everything. Okay, I got it. Yes. I'm still trying to
happy
work
for
out.
Me.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
So you mentioned earlier that you do have several different accounts and several different hats that you're wearing. Do you want to explain what all they are? Because they're not simple things either. They're all major things. I don't know how you do it.
Okay. Well, I'm a spouse. We have 4 kids, right? The oldest is 23. The youngest is 15. Yep. I'll be 44 this month, the end of this month. So it's an
awesome number.
Yes. I thought so too. And to be in a year that's based on the power of 3 is even better. But anyway, attached to that. Yeah. So I am the president of DSA Media Incorporated. That is our corporation. We will be doing more with that business as itself. Currently, its primary purpose is to house the other businesses. So DSA Media Incorporated houses Corversion, which is the business program, right?
And that's the account you're on right now, yes.
That's the account I'm on right now, correct. And so that's also where I do public speaking through and things of that nature. And then we have Kenner Publishing. And Kenner Publishing is not a publishing house. I don't publish other people's books. But what we do is we help people go through the self-publishing process. Sean wrote a book. He wanted to publish it. You know, I always joke and say I made the mistake of saying, oh, you can self-publish. That's easy. Because I had to.
Well, now you figured it all out.
Well, I hadn't at that point when that statement released my mouth. And I said, because when I went to, because I got my health coaching certification, and it's really a health and life coaching certification through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in Manhattan. And in that, the first year is all about your health coaching certification. So you learn everything about health, systems, whatever. The next 6 months is all about building a business and the different ways to do that. Okay. So one of the components was self-publishing. Yeah. So that you can become known as an expert. So we learned that. So when he said that, I said, oh, that's easy. I learned all about that. Well, I didn't. I learned the outline. And it wasn't a simple process, and it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. And I said, oh, there's really a service in here, which is one of my talents, is seeing a business and everything. So so
because you've been hustling forever.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, oh, there's really a service in here. People will need it. This is not an easy process. We could streamline it, help them. And so then we offer services that help self-publishing be smoother and more manageable.
Very cool. So I love that, though. I mean, I like that you've been through the process. You thought you knew because they said that, you know, you would have the information, and then you go through the process and you figure out, yeah, okay, not quite all the information there, but you got to figure it out. So, right. So I'm glad, though, like that goes back to your, you know, cookie cutter solutions aren't really all that great. Yeah, they give you a little bit of the information, but you got to go digging after that. So I'm glad that you went through the process, you figure out what the holes were, and now you're offering that service because you know you've physically done it. So now you know.
And not once, not twice, but we're on the 3rd project. So
awesome.
Yeah. And if the copyright office would just hurry up, I could start promoting it.
Awesome. So you let me know when that happens because we can all, you know, promote everywhere. Because I think that's a story that people need to hear as well. So I'm really excited that he wrote the book.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely think it's a project everybody needs to hear about. So I can't wait. Absolutely. But I need the copyright office to just give me an answer so we can move forward.
Very cool. So tell me a little bit more about Corversion. I know when we first started talking to each other, you were actually still doing physical, meetups with people where you sit with them and you help them go through all the nonsense in their house, like stop hoarding, all of that. So you organize people, but I'd like to know a little bit more about that so people actually know what they can come to you for. What all does Corversion entail?
Okay, so the organization piece really becomes part of the business coaching now. I no longer take on organizing clients that's just about organization. Okay. I didn't enjoy it. I actually hated it. And I wasn't, because, I had one lady who was super, super into it, super proactive. Every time I saw her, I could see how she had grown from the last time I saw her. I could see how much better things were. I could literally see the tension and the crate, like, leaving her body. I watched her, like, completely change her life, right?
Yeah.
The other one is, like, resistive to everything. And the one thing you can't convince somebody of is that they actually want things to be different. So that's why it's a problem to me. And it's
they got to put down the things that hurt them.
Right. And it's the same reason I stopped taking health coaching clients, right? Because unfortunately, people's health is not enough of a paycheck for them to really commit. They're like, well, these are things I should do because it affects me this way and da 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 da. But then they'll make 9,020 excuses as to why they shouldn't put themselves first. And
got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, but business, people want money. People want
they want that return.
People want to be talked about well. People want, right. So there's so many external paybacks in business, right? There's a lot of feel goods that go on so that even when the slow times happen, they're always a little more driven to hit those marks.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I'm actually glad you go after that and you realize that, some of these things, people want the advice, but that's all they want. They just want the advice. They want to hear what the solution is, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to implement. So I'm really glad that you recognize that. And I think people need to hear that. I can sit on Pinterest all day long and scroll through all the different exercises, but until I do the exercises, the bat wing is not going to disappear.
Right, exactly. Or until you eat the things that are right for you. Because, same thing, the cookie cutter thing, when it comes to food, and especially with it's your body and your background and, being East mindset based, you really know everything is not for everybody. And, over here in the West, we really fight that tooth and nail. No, I just have to be keto. No, I just have to do Atkins. You
probably got to try it and see how it works for your body.
Right. And then those specific things might not work. And then, but people want an answer tomorrow. They want results tomorrow. They want it to happen now. And you can make things like that in business happen. Like when I coach people, the first session I coach them, when they do what I tell them to do, when we hang up the phone, I get a phone call saying, I went and did what you told me to and I made $100. Or I went and did this and my stuff is now in a boutique. And I went and did this and this happened. So it's like immediate results driven, which is what keeps them pushing. But physical stuff that you don't want to let go of because there's all this emotion, they're like, I don't know.
But I wish people would pay more attention because you actually have done all of that. You've, your weight has fluctuated over the years with the accident, with all the various things that are going on, having kids and all that stuff. But you have made it your priority to really pay attention to your body and what works and what doesn't work for you. And then you go put in the work. You do it consistently.
Right.
I like to work out. I will work out maybe 7 days in a row. Once I get to that rest day, it will become a rest week and then a rest month. So I am just being very honest. I'm not good like that.
So then
you have been no nonsense with that.
So, but somebody like you, so like you're cognizant of that, that. So then if you just threw, an ab routine in that took 10 minutes and you don't have a day off because you can actually train your abs 365 days a year and not damage them. It's the only body part you can do that to. Then if you just gave 10 minutes and you psychologically were like,
still a
workout, you then will skip the next 7 days. And it's like little things like that. It's like little tweaking that people are like, oh, I say it all the time. Like when I go in, sometimes I go into college courses and we talk about Sean's books in there because his first 2 books are geared toward, the first book is geared towards youth. The second book is really geared towards self-help and actually Corversion will be releasing a program this year based on 12 Paths to Power.
Awesome.
And so what I get pulled in for is like when it's a guidance counselor's course or like special ed people.
Yes.
I'll get pulled in for those, and they'll have me do a professional development on bridge, you know, like pulling things into the school, thinking outside the box, different ways to come up with solutions.
Resources. Yeah.
Right. And so I always say, you know, I find myself often saying in those courses, you just have to bridge the gap. Like you have a gap. So how can you create that bridge? You always have the resources, but you're so caught up in the test scores and so caught up in the numbers you have to meet and so caught up in the problem that the solution is sitting there. Just no one has
you're not using it.
Permission to think about it differently.
Yeah, I got you.
So the same thing with that. You always have to find a way to bridge the gap.
But like I said, you're very consistent. You have tried a lot of different things to find out what actually works for you. And you've been fasting a lot lately, and that seems to be working well for you. How did you chance upon fasting?
So, so I'm a huge Googler. That's just what it is. I Google all the time. Like when I'm bored, I will sit and Google. When I've had enough of social media, I will sit and Google. And I have, you know, like Echo and Alexa around, so I will ask them questions, right?
As they come to you, okay?
Right. I have lymphedema in my left lower leg. And in 2011, I also had a heart condition for a certain period of time.
I remember you mentioned that, yeah.
Due to that was stress-induced, so I ended up with a heart arrhythmia that had to be healed, right? Wow. So at that point, 2011, we're talking, I was 36. I was 36. Okay. So 36 years old, in the cardiologist with a legitimate heart condition, heart functioning at like 68%, which is really bad. Like you always need to be 70% or higher. My fatigue was so horrible that I would have to lay in the bed and help my kids with homework. Like they would have to climb up on the bed because when I would sit up, my heart would immediately start racing and then I'd feel like I was lightheaded. So I really didn't have a choice at that point. That's also when I discovered the Institute for Integrative Nutrition because I wanted to heal myself. Like it was never, I never got into it because I was like, oh, I'm going to coach all these people. I got into it because I wanted to coach me. And I have always continually been coaching me. So the lymphedema had developed. They didn't know what was wrong with me there. That's what caused the heart condition because they sent me through 55 different changes. Maybe you have cancer. Maybe you have lupus. Maybe you have Lyme disease. Maybe you have
testing.
Clots, maybe endlessly for 8 months. And until the vascular specialist was like, stop making doctors rich. He was an Indian doctor. He was like, stop making doctors rich. You have lymphedema. You know, it's like when you knit a sweater and one arm is just a little bit longer than the other for whatever reason. Nodes don't work right in that side. Stop it. Okay. Nothing we could do about it. Keep working out. Keep being active. You know, try to not eat things that irritate it, whatever. And and that's it. That's it. Like, I can't.
It's a lot simpler.
Right.
Yeah.
He said I could try to sell you all kind of treatments that are not really going to do anything for you, but I'm not going to do that because these doctors have been making you crazy long enough. First,
do no harm. Exactly.
Right. So, so from that, the lymphedema. So my heart got healed that year. I did really well. I pushed really hard. I actually ran a 10K that summer just to prove to myself I could make it through it. And my only goals were to not quit and not be last. Those were my only two goals.
That's decent. No, but I mean, considering you had a heart condition, a 10K is no joke.
I had never run a race.
Even better. Okay.
But anyway, so, and I did, and I completed, and I was like 6th to last, but I was okay with that, and I didn't quit. Like, those were my two things. And to be able to prove to myself I was healthy enough to do it. Like, that was the, you know, because at the time I was still single, and I had 3 kids, and I was like, God forbid something happens to me. What happens to them?
Yeah, it's all you.
Yeah. But from there, my leg never was right. It never got right. And then I happened upon an autophagy fast. I found it by accident. I was looking for something else and it popped up. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. So it was like a 7-minute video. So I was like, 7 minutes is not going to kill me. I can last through this. I won't get distracted before it's over. And they explain that in the autophagy fast, which is a water fast, all you do is drink water. I get asked all the time, do you eat anything? You eat nothing. All you do is drink water for a minimum of 72 hours. It has to be at least 72 hours. So the first 24 hours, your body panics. You feel like you're starving. You're very hungry. Your stomach's growling. But you have sugar stores, so it burns off the glycogen, right?
Got it. Okay.
The second 24 hours, you start to feel good, because now your body has started to use up stored glycogen that shouldn't really be sitting there, which is what like makes your joints sore, what makes your muscles sore, all the stuff just sitting in there. Now it's starting to run through that. So now you're like pumped up, you have energy. You're like, oh, this is good. I kind of feel good. I could do this. This is great. You're like in a good flow. You no longer have a headache or whatever. The third day is when the magic happens. So after 48 hours is over, your body, the reason it's called autophagy is that literally means self-eating. So your body starts to eat itself. It eats all the bacteria that shouldn't be there. It gets rid of all the junk in your immune system. It intentionally depletes your white blood cells to force new stem cells to grow.
Got it.
And because lymphedema is your lymphatic system is your immune system. Yeah. I said to myself, if it forces the white blood cells to repopulate, and it forces all the bacteria to get out, and it forces stem cells to grow, you could possibly heal this by doing this. Or at least minimum get the fluid to flow and stop just sitting there. Because my foot would literally be red. It'd be like dark red. It literally feels like it's burning and on fire when that happens.
Oh my gosh.
So something had to give. So I started doing that last summer sometime.
Yeah, I think I remember you mentioning when you first did it.
Right. And now I do them for 4 or 5 days. Like the first 3 days is easy. So now I push even further. I think even the first time I did it, I did like 81 hours. Because even though I could have eaten that night, I did it the next morning. I didn't eat till the next morning because I was like, I don't want to eat before.
So you just pushed through.
Right. Well, I wasn't hungry, and I didn't want to eat before bed because I normally intermittent fast anyway. So I was like, I don't want to eat and then lay down. So, and you lose. Oh, the other thing that happens during the second and the third day is it actually pumps up your human growth hormone. Because it's a protective measure your body goes through. Right. Okay. So it literally, so that autophagy also, it starts eating fat, the visceral fat, the kind that's tucked in between.
That's what you want. Exactly. Okay.
Right. So you come out of it, your muscles are not sore, your joints don't hurt, everything is nice and limber and lubed, and you just feel fantastic. So I try to do them like once every 3 months. And that usually works really well. I know my leg is really bad when it's not working. So then I say, okay, so it's like a
red flag for you.
Right. What's in my food that's wrong. So I really worked on that. And then I did the Daniel fast. So I did the autophagy fast January, and I did that. And then I ate regular for like 3 days. And then I went into the Daniel fast. And the Daniel fast is really biblically based. It's really like a Christian thing. I have a bunch of Christian friends who have done it, who are like, it's a really good, it's a really spiritual experience. Like, you know, even though it's church, like, even though I do it with my church, it's such a good experience. I would suggest it for you. I know a lot of people who come out healthier the other side. So I said, so I really did some research. I really dug into it because you know me, I'm never doing anything.
No, you got to check it out for yourself. I love that though. People need to do that. You know, check the information for yourself.
So I looked into it, and pretty much it's almost like it's pretty much a vegan plan. You have no animal fat, you have no animal products, no dairy, no caffeine, no gluten, no you eat a very specific list of fruits. So pretty much all low glycemic index fruits, and fruits that contain a lot of water. So like watermelon, pineapple. So like a very specific list of fruits. You could have like sweet potatoes and quinoa and a specific list of lentils, and that's what you eat. Very good. And I did that for 21 days because you do it for 21 days, and you're supposed to pray or meditate or whatever. Well, you know, like I said, as a Christian, so they pray, but you're supposed to, for 3 times a day, pray, meditate, whatever it is that you do, and get in touch with yourself and your, you know, spirit guide and whatever, and really focus in. So I really focused on healing my body. Like that was that was my desire through this whole thing is I really believe this is going to help me heal my lymphedema. I really believe that this is going to, you know, ease my pain. And I lost 19.2 pounds between the autophagy fast and the 21
in 21 days.
Right. So
wow.
25 days, I lost 19.2 pounds, which I went on a cruise in October and I had put on weight. And that's what really caused me to go through this, because the weight just kept coming on. It didn't matter how strict I was with my food. It didn't matter if I worked out. And both my feet were swollen and I could only fit 2 pairs of my shoes. So that's what triggered this like extensive need to be like, I got to figure out what's triggering this reaction.
Okay.
So I have food sensitivities. I know that, but I needed to like really figure out, why is it so bad? Like, why is this time so
right?
So, so 19.2 pounds. I discovered that I really, really cannot have any gluten whatsoever. I knew wheat was a trigger, but like I accidentally had a little bit of barley. And when I say like super minuscule, like maybe 5 pieces of it in some soup I had made, and my foot started turning red.
That was like immediate.
Face itched, my neck was itching, my belly was itching. I mean, it was crazy.
Wow.
I was like, right. So now I was like, so maybe it's a little more than sensitive. Maybe it's not just sensitive. Maybe this is really an issue. And so I haven't had any gluten since. So I've been very mindful not to do that. I also haven't had any dairy since.
Okay.
So I've given up both completely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. But that just goes to show how much, you know, how much more cognizant you need to be of your life and everything around it. You know, your food, your environment, your thoughts, all of that stuff means so much to your quality of life. And then obviously, you know, kind of manifests physically sometimes if there's something wrong. It's like, red alert, hey, something's wrong, go fix it.
All the time. It always manifests physically, somewhere, somehow. Whether, you know, I always say, and you know this because you were once upon a time in my Facebook group where I used to post, I always say, if your physical space is chaotic and not in the way that you're used to, your mental space is chaotic, and you have to start with the physical space so that you can start to relieve whatever it is that you're holding on to by physically getting rid of things and putting them where they belong. So your mind can start to like, oh, let's let go. Let's let it go.
The physical act of moving things and organizing and like streamlining, you know, getting rid of excess. Yes, that really does make a difference. It really does.
A huge difference. Yeah. Which is also like when I business coach, you know, I don't just look at your business. We look at all 4 quadrants of your life. Not, you know, we look at your spirituality. We look at your physical activity / health, your relationships, and your career. Because if you're only successful in one quadrant, the cube is going to tip over, right? You can't.
Right. Everything's connected. Everything's connected.
Yeah.
So what's new for you this year? What can we look forward to? What do we need to keep an eye on you for? I know the book is coming at some point, but before that, you have a couple other programs you mentioned as well, correct?
Right. So Corversion now is program-based, but in a different way than I think a lot of other programs are based. Or at least that's the feedback I'm getting. They're like, oh yeah, no, nobody else does that. So because I told you I struggled with eliminating my personal
touch. Yes.
I just couldn't do it. I was like, we still have to have interaction one-on-one where I could be like, fix this, change that, do this. And then you come back and we double check that, right?
Because the gift is your sight, how you see things.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like that's why I had to put professional problem solver, because that's really what I do. Like I listen to it and I'm like, wait. But why do you do it like that?
Right.
Right. But why? And why do you even do that? You know, so I had to do it in a way that was comfortable for me. So, so now I don't do discovery calls. That doesn't exist with me. If you want to test me out, the place to test me out is on my Sunday Night Lives. You can come in.
To listen in and pay attention.
Listen in. You could type in your question. You can send it ahead of time and then wait to see what my answer is if you want to test me out. But I have Flourish sessions. They're 30 minutes or an hour long. The 30-minute session is $97. The hour-long session is $147. It's a Zoom call, so you receive
Okay.
that, so you can rewatch
Good.
it.
It's recording. Yes.
It's recorded so that you could be like, wait, I don't remember what she said. Because what you don't get with a Flourish session is any accountability, any follow-up. You can't text
It's
me,
on you.
email me. It's all on you. But those are
Yep.
for those people who really believe they don't really need help. They just need some answers.
Okay.
And some people do function like that.
Yeah.
Typically,
Some people are go-getters
people
sometimes.
are really good with that.
Yeah.
And then the next step is Flourish Finance. And that I developed because I did a Sunday live before New Year's. And all 12 people who were on the live,
Yeah.
when we talked about, because we had just done my whole series on time management for 8 weeks
Yes.
in a row. I talked about how time management and your financials are the foundation of everything. So you can
Yes.
build and build and build and build and build. But if this and this are not strong, eventually it all collapses. And that's how you
Right.
see people have like these really good streaks and then see them kind of
And then they disappear.
down a little bit. Well,
Yeah.
or disappear. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly. Or you see a whole bunch of bad reviews. All of a sudden you're like, where'd that come from?
Right.
Right. So I had talked about the time management. So I thought it was really important before the new year to add in the finance portion so that instead of people focusing on resolutions, they could focus on something that would really actually help them be stable
Right.
in business and in life. And when I went through the whole thing about you should track this, you should track this, you should know this, you know, like you have to know your numbers. When I
Right.
said, who knows, who could list all their bills and what approximately they think they cost them each month, and then go back at the end of the month and write down the actual numbers, nobody did it. Nobody knew their numbers. Everybody admitted they know they pay for things that they don't even know what they're subscribed to. People had
Right.
no idea what they were spending on
Auto
groceries.
subscriptions are amazing.
People admitted to paying for courses they never bothered taking. So I said, okay, this is a problem. So instead of wasting business coaching on that, Flourish Finance is this, and it's a prerequisite to do a coaching program with me.
Nice. I'm glad you do that because then you cut to the chase when you start your coaching.
Well, and right. And they've already had an opportunity to look at that. And then that can already be done before the coaching begins. Because like I tell everybody, I can't set financial goals with you when you don't even know where you stand.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't do the work for them. It's their business. They got to know. They have to know.
Mm-hmm. And we can't set realistic goals because if you tell me, oh, I want to make $1 million this year, but really you make $10,000 a year, well, how are we going to get there?
Right.
And how did you not know you really only made $10,000 once we X everything out that you paid for?
Right.
Right. So because I want to actually be servicing people. And when I used to physically walk into businesses, and I don't know why this didn't strike me before, but again, you know, switching over to the online platform is a whole different ball of wax.
You got to think about it differently.
Right. But when I used to physically go into businesses, like they would hire me to come in and help them rip stuff apart and fix it. The first thing we always looked at was their finances. That was the first thing we always sat down and reviewed.
Where are you bleeding?
Right. Where are we wasting money? Where, you know, why does this cost you ABC, or why are you paying a service for this? So it's like, if I don't do that with the people virtually, we can't really get anywhere. But instead of wasting the coaching, so that's a week, it's only a week long. It's done in a group setting. We get very thorough training on it. There's a, what do you call it? Not a checklist, but like a worksheet that goes with it. And so that you could fill it in and start to see like how you should track things and help you like think of everything that you pay for. Right. And then at the end, we do a 30-minute coaching. So at the end of the week, we do a 30-minute one-on-one. So we can really talk about, where you can shift things to maybe come up with more money. Because the one thing, I've never taken a loan out for my businesses I've started, ever.
Okay. Yeah.
So I really try to help people do the same thing, because I don't want that burden to be like, oh my God, now I got to pay this, because that's how mistakes happen, because you're panicked and you're like, this has to happen now. So I want it to happen now, and there's ways to make money now, but I don't want them to be in such a rush that they're tripping and stumbling and missing the mark, right? So Flourish Finance sets the foundation. The first level of coaching with me is called Flourish Coaching. It's only 3 weeks. It's happens once a quarter. so that for those 3 weeks, it's an intensive 3 weeks. You'll be given things to work on, build on. There's a 45-minute coaching session each week with that. It's only $297. And then you still have access to me during the quarter, like if you need to.
So you can ask questions
and ask questions. The next level up would be for people who are in this already making 6 figures, but are looking to level that up, right?
Okay.
Or a minimum of pulling $50,000 in income, right? Like you need to be pliable, and that's like your main source of your income. Okay.
Right.
So the next level lasts the whole quarter. It's $24.99 a quarter. It's $2,499 a quarter.
Okay.
And that's more intensive. We dig deeper. There's lots of different pieces of that. I have lots of experts on standby. Like for the Flourish Finance, I have a credit person and a financial guy who comes in and overviews different things to make sure that everybody has all the knowledge and information they need to push forward. And then the same thing will happen during Flourish Mastery is I'll pull in experts based on what they need, because I have a pool. I have a big enough pool that I could be like,
your network.
I need you to wait, I need you to come talk to them about this or this, you know. And then there's Flourish Elite, and Flourish Elite are for those people who want into the 7-figure club. Okay. Very cool. And that's $1,800 a month, and it's a full year. And then my goal with all of those, with how I've structured everything, is to create really a community of businesses and really create a really, you know, let's reach back and help pull those forward. Let's, you know what I mean? Like almost be able to set up mentors. So, and I know you've gone through my program. I know you know how I function. So if you do this and this person does this, let's pair you together so you can give them direct insight as well. Or maybe you can share vendors with them, or maybe you can collaborate in some kind of way. And then recently I just decided, based on something that happened, that I'm also going to do another week-long program called Flourish with the 3 C's. And anybody, and I know you've watched me a few times, but I don't know if you've ever caught me on that day. So I always say the 3 C's are collaboration, customer appreciation, and charities.
Nice. Okay.
And that you have to know how to utilize those during your downtime.
Got it. Very good.
That's only a week long. And you don't have to do a Flourish Finance.
You cover pretty much the whole gamut of business.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't see why people shouldn't take advantage of that. So,
and I have a planner
Corversion.
And that's the other thing.
And okay. So the book and the planner we look out for, and then you have all of your programs.
And then all of the programs. Exactly.
All right, you guys. So Corversion, that's the main account. Please go follow Corversion so you can get more of the information. And like she says, she has, you know, free sessions that she gets online and actually talks to people and answers questions. So if you do want to try it out, go check it out. Go listen, ask ask questions. And
Sunday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Very cool. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with, as in like maybe your favorite ride or die quote that you live by every day, something that keeps you going every day? What would that be?
So my favorite quote that I live by every single day always is, know thyself, and you will have the keys to the universe and the secrets of the gods. Yeah.
You need to really pay attention to yourself. And I love that, because in everything you've done that.
Right.
You've learned more and more about yourself, and then once you figure out what to do and how to do it, you're teaching people. So, I mean, you can't ask for more than that. You've lived everything you're teaching.
Yeah, that is 100% what I live by, is that quote right there.
Very cool. All right, Sarah, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. You guys, if you're not following Corversion, go follow Corversion. I mean, if nothing else, you get lots of fun tips. And she's very friendly, and she's on here a lot. So she's giving away free content all the time. But if you really want to pick her brain, you're going to have to pay for it. So please contact her, get involved, start getting to know yourself, getting to know your business a little bit better so you can actually really flourish. I like the fact that you called all of your programs Flourish.
Yes.
There's no point in just being in business for the hell of being in business. You might as well flourish while you're doing it.
Well, it's part of my logo. On the bottom of my logo, it says develop, exceed, flourish, because what I've always done is help businesses develop systems that make more sense and make them more efficient so they can exceed their profit goals and ultimately flourish in business and in life.
I love it. Simple enough. but it takes a lot of work. Don't think you're gonna like listen to her and it's gonna go put in the work. Okay, so if you're ready to actually work on it, you'll contact Sarah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Pika.
And hopefully again soon when you actually, you know, your planner comes out and when your books come out.
Yes,
I'll be happy to promote.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Y'all take care.
All right, have a good night.
Bye.